Dear participants, dear organizers, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to take part in this seminar. I am a head of Historical Informatics Training Laboratory at School of History of Karazin National University. Our laboratory is a small structural subdivision of the School of History of the university. I am undeniably proud of my alma mater, just like any of those present here is proud of their. But here I emphasize the fact that we work in bureaucratic conditions due to the specific character of the post-Soviet higher education system. I have intentionally highlighted this to ensure that all the attenders are aware of the fact that we are not a research center operation. On the basis of international grants funding, we are not a public organization, we are a structural unit of public institution in the field of higher education. Currently, there are 4 employees in our structural unit, including me. The main trouble is that it's a part-time job, because my colleague and I also work at the Department of History of Ukraine as lecturers, and one more colleague is a postgraduate student. However, our small team is trying to integrate digital technology in its various forms and manifestation into the educational process. Bachelor degree student of School of History, according to the curriculum, have a separate course called Historical Informatics, which they follow on the second year of their education during the first semester. This course is compulsory and consists of 32 academic hours. The introduction of this course at the School of History is inseparably linked with our laboratory, which is quite logical. The Historical Informatics Labs was started as an ordinary computer class that was created at the School of History in 1999. In 2004, the computer class was transformed into a laboratory of quantitative methods in historical research. It used to be headed by Vladimir Kulikov. At the Department of History of Ukraine, he delivered special courses on social history of Ukraine from the 19th early 20th centuries and quantitative methods for processing massive historical sources. On the basis of the laboratory, seminars of cliometrics were conducted. In the early 20s, the laboratory was almost the only place with open access to the internet, not only at the School of History, but also at the university. Since 2013, the laboratory has received the present name and form, the Historical Informatics Training Laboratory. From 2013 to 2016, it was headed by Roman Bybavsky, who then and now lecturer at the Department of History of Ukraine, and I have been in charge of this structure since 2016. The activity of the laboratory is connected with the educational process. At lectures on the course of Historical Informatics, students obtain theoretical knowledge in this field. Today this course is taught by Roman Bybavsky, whom I have already mentioned. Within the course, students perform a variety of opportunity tasks that relate to digital technology in historical education and science. The laboratory here serves as the base of practice, both advisory and organized center. Here are some examples of the works done by our students within the framework of the course on Historical Informatics on the basis of the laboratory last year. Please. Analysis of computer historical games. A special round table was held on this time, for example. Site development. Site development on historical themes. Students choose the theme they are interested in, develop relevant sites, fill them with verified historical information. Several examples of such sites can be seen on the slide. The site is devoted to the image of a woman in Soviet times. More than 100 posters in high quality are presented. Their authorship and year of creation are indicated. Another site is devoted to the executed Renaissance. It's about Soviet women. Yes, it's about executed Renaissance. The digitization and cataloging of archives are carried out in cooperation with the Museum of University History. On the slide you can see the students working. They scanned and structured the material, created an appropriate media archive. Visitors can now see them on interactive panels located in the museum. This is material was scanned. You see, in fact, the first slide from the student's presentation, different student presentation. I suggest you review a few slides so you can imagine how the students are working. Here we see the unsorted archival funds of the museum and the process of their cataloging. Individual students have initiated the creation of publics on social networking sites and messengers in order to popularize the history of the city of Kharkiv. We did not object. The students who created a popular public got their corresponding grades for it. The criteria for popularity we discussed with them separately, because it is rather difficult to create a new public from scratch and 2 or 3 months. For example, from Instagram. The idea of this project was to draw attention to presenting the cultural heritage of the city, to demonstrate how the city space was changing over time. Its popularization on modern social network, here Instagram, in our opinion, is important as students conclude that using their knowledge they can go beyond the limits of the academic field. Another idea was mentioned, which was offered by the students themselves within the course of historical informatics. They created audio documents with historical sources for high school students with vision problems. We supported this project and even passed the materials to the appropriate specialized gymnasium in Kharkiv. Students admitted being placed to see the possibility of practical realization of their knowledge. They have created a group on Facebook with some example of their work, for example, history in documents, and other. Here are several other activities of the laboratory. Support for university courses in the distance education system. To date, about 40 courses have been created for students, both full-time and part-time. The School of History is one of the leading in this area at the university, which is certified with a special certificate from the administration. The laboratory consults lecturers, especially elderly professors, who find it difficult to accept modern technology, conducting trainings for students on the creation of databases, and student tutorial to enhance the skills of creation multimedia presentation. This is especially relevant to senior students who are approaching the defense. Accordingly, the laboratory acts as speakers at pregraduate seminars, consults students and their scientific advisor. Thus, the laboratory was established back in 1999. It has been in existence in its present form since 2013. It is a structural subdivision of School of History, which is integrated into the educational processes and integrates digital technologies into the educational process. Thank you so much for attention.
Thank you, Yevhen. And now I'm happy to invite for the presentation our colleague Khrystyna Boyko from the Center for Urban History. She will be presenting one of the most exciting projects of the center that we are really like, and we were really inspired to work further on this kind of formats of transferring historical academic knowledge into different kind of projects and activities towards school education, but also non-formal education. And Khrystyna will talk more about one of these projects lived through the 90s. Please.
Thank you, Teres. And it's the last presentation, yes, and maybe it's not a presentation, it's some reflection on the question what this means to create the educational platform based on the another project, Live Interactive, based on the academic historical institution, yes, and it's many level of questions. And this presentation was based on our experience of implementation platform Live through 19th. And first of all, I want to begin with some details, some overview about the idea and process of doing this platform, and about the process, because it's very important. Live through the 19th, or in Ukrainian, Вижити в 90-х, it's like survival in the 19th in Lviv, yes. It's an educational platform focused on the history of the period of 19th in Lviv, stemming from the project of the Lviv Interactive. It's like first attempt to understand how it works. And it is created for the exhibition by Tadeusz Rolke. Tomorrow will be exhibited in the center like three years ago. And this is product of the more than year-long work to collect and process data, to generate information, and working with content, and it was a big program for the students. The slides from the exhibition, and a little focus on the narrative, on the content. When we started the education program, we first of all asked ourselves this question: what does mean history of 19th in Lviv for the teens 10-16 years old? Is it history of the family, of the very, very close history of the parents of these young people, or is it very distant history from the textbook? like some part of the history of Ukraine, yes, and do they think this event is important and it has some I don't know importance, or it's something like to learn and to the exam? And this period of history is not popular in the school, to be honest. And it takes place like in the end of the curriculum. There's not enough time to learn this history in the good way, in the good condition. And it's like list of dates, dry facts, global events, and some stories about this great man, about this great people. But we wanted to show this period at another perspective, at another options. I don't know. It's because it's we show this period like mosaic of individual stories, mosaic of the memories, and very little details to show this period through the everyday things, practices, events, and stories, stories real people, not these big personalities. And it was like a plan to search the ways how to get from the level of political history, this big history, and down to the history of everyday life, to humanize these events, yes, and include these personal stories into the general narrative. And it's important we had the another question, what the city was like and how it reacted in the radical changes in this period in history. And so, as the whole, we decided to create some educational product and vary it in digital form. And it's about this product, about this platform, survival in 19th. The resource consists of 4 sections, and maybe I can show this section in. Okay, and it's places, it's games, it's a dictionary, and it's materials for teachers and school students. And more about these different sections. Maybe first of all, it's about the games, because it was the main idea to make some playful products and different games about this time, with the photos from the media archive, with the videos from the media archive, from the different dates, data dates, yes, from the Center for Urban History materials. And in this game you can try to grasp what's missing in the photos, archive photos. You can I don't know, check how well do you understand the slang of the 19th. You can check the prices of this period, and I don't know, you can read some different facts about this time and answer false or true is it. Another section of this platform is a dictionary, vocabulary of the different terms. We have this, and it's like textbook terms, titles of chapters or items, or independent external tests presented through little things, through little details, stories and memories of real people. And we have this abstract, we have the photos, we have this, I don't know, voice from real people, yes, and we have the places, because history has place, yes, and it's about the Nazi section, it's about the places, it's some, I don't know, some attempt to mark different places, and it's like some walk to the places in this period time, and you can, it's like our popular tool, yes, which you have seen in the previously presentations. It's pop-up with little information, why this place was so important, particularly in this period in history. And it's different type of filters. It can be about the people, it can be about the things or phenomena. And the last one is the materials, and it's our really attempt to try understand how can build the communication with the teachers, with the schools, with the school students, and it's like navigator of our materials to teachers. Yes, how it works. How can you use this or these materials from vocabulary or from places, or how can you play a game but learn something about something, yes, and prepare to the final exam by using these materials. And I return to my presentation. And I want to discuss with you about the tools, approaches and methodology what we used. It's important part of this process of creating this platform. So first of all, it's learning through doing, learning by doing. It's maybe I would say it first of all that this platform was designed, was developed by a group of students. Of course, with a big group of researchers and other players of this platform, but it's important that these students can, I know, could feel how it works, a real project, yes, how some research can input in some real product, and it's because it was not only learning by learned students, but students built the project, and I don't know, share this experience to the younger colleagues, to the pupils, to the school students, and it works. The next one, it's non-linear telling history approach, and it's this website allow users to play a game with the materials. Yes, it's like different parts of the puzzle, and you can make this story what you want. It's more about the questions, but not about some answers. The history of 19th in Lviv, it was it's like a question by Ira Sklokina. It's only about some different question. How can we look for this period? And I think it's some new, I don't know, alternative type of textbook, because of these digital tools allow to make this mosaic type, and its possibility to place different type of media. It's photos, archive photos, real photos, videos, texts, and another type of materials. And you can I don't know, browse this platform in any way what you want. And the last one about the tools, it's learning by playing. Of course, it's about these games. And first of all, our first idea, it was make its dry textbook from the school. These facts, vibrant and game-like. Like not the fun, but game-like. But this, in the same time, useful and educational, because it's not about only fun. Of course, about our challenges and issues, we have some distance after the public presentation of this website. It was more than 1 year ago. And of course, we have some reflection about what doesn't work and why. We don't know why now. And I can share only experience. Of course, it's difficult to find the language between all the actors of the process, because it's a result of cooperation with students, experts, translators, visual experts, programmers, editors, educators, and I can. It's many people, and it's so difficult to find this good language with these different actors. We had with this problem, to be honest. Another one, it's project life after the public presentation, because it was big focus on the process, a really big focus. Then it was public presentation, and what should be after this? Who is, I don't know, owner of this process to promote, to communicate with the schools? Maybe it's some series of presentations, maybe it's some series of course for teachers, but we are in the process. And of course it's communicate with audience, and each question repeats today, maybe, I don't know, 10th time. And the second part of my presentation, it's not presentation but question. It's many questions, because now we are working on developing educational platform as part of the larger project Lviv Interactive. And now we are in this process, and we are in this big question, what does mean to be the part of the big academic institutional project, digital project, and what tasks, what issues we should solve, or should we solve something? Yes, it's like many questions. And we have some frameworks. So we want to make this platform for school, for teachers. It's not about the university audience. Yes, it's like our framework now, but maybe in future it will be another. And I would to discuss with you and will be thankful for your advices, feedbacks and questions after, yes, after my questions. The key questions is where we are. What the challenges we should or can solve, or are we formal or informal education? Because Teresa said that we are non-formal education, but it's question. Because are we alternative or some additions to the real school curriculum? It's question. And do we have to implement our materials in this real school program, in the curriculum? What methodology we can choose? The next questions is our tasks. And we discussed with Teresa many times about this. What should we do to navigate educators on the materials through the real project and materials databases in the LIA? Just navigate, like how it works in the LIA and how can we use this to the school process. Or build some communication between different educational stakeholders, or to be platform with database and topics, with some some narratives like teaching materials, or to be adept and players to digitalization at real Ukrainian educational area. It's a question. The next one is a focus on the content or the focus on the digital tools, because we are between, yes. And if it's focused on the content, it's like we should find the good design, education, pedagogical design to put these different materials in the good way, in the good form, and it's question. What form is good for teachers and for school, for educational area. And if it's sharing digital tools for use for preparation to the lessons, during the lesson, or some project to activity for the school students, maybe it's sharing these tools like storytelling, digital mapping, city walks, and etc. Another question is this visual part and interface, and because we know about this instructional design, pedagogical design, but should we use this? I don't know. And how should the interface look adapted for schools? Which form we can use? Because the next question is the maybe no, I have this question, but in the paper, and about the digital education real reform in Ukraine, because we are currently in the process of educational reform, and it's a big focus of digitalization educational area, but there is a big gap between the desired situation and the real one, and it's question what skills, digital skills, our teacher have, what technical I don't know, base. Our schools have, I don't know, and it's big process, and should we communicate with some department of education or no, at this time, because it's very relevant message, I don't know, direction, or it's the next step to make this communication with official institutions. Yeah, I have this, and to the finish of my questions line. It's of course this question about the life before and after project start and how to measure project success. What about these feedbacks from the teachers and how to promote the project, how to communicate with users after the official presentation, what are criteria for project success? It's a good question, yes. And this is the number of visits, likes in the Instagram or Facebook or teacher, or it's some, I don't know, quality of real presentation. It's for discuss, and maybe I'll finish in this question. Thank you, and
thank you, Khrystyna. Thank you, both of you, for the presentations. I think that this, well, I really like this Surviving 90s project, and I think it's not only education. Well, the project can be targeted not only to education activities in schools, but also I would also see it as a public history project because let's say this context of 90s in Lviv and in Ukraine in general. Maybe it's not that obvious, for example, for some external audiences outside of Ukraine, for example, and having this platform in English and having this platform prepared in this participatory, gamificated way gives another opportunity for someone who wants to start learning this context of 90s in Ukraine. This could be an entry point for one to learn it. Do we have any questions from the audiences for any of the presentations about the Live Through 90s or Laboratory of Historical Informatics?
I have one.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, well, I can just. Just one question, because probably I didn't get it well. Yeah, you worked with the students?
yes.
Directly. So do you have them bringing their own pictures? Like collecting the picture their parents may have taken?
Yes, of course. It is so many materials from a real family archive. It's about this, yes?
Yeah.
Yes, and we can these photos or some memories in this platform, and we have describe it with every photos and every term has author, yes, but we have from an interview with Boyko, from the interview, and it's from the interview of participant of the project.
Okay, sorry, I didn't get this.
Yes. It is.
Okay. And what was the reactions of the students? Like how they perceive the 90s? Do they perceive it with something like parents' history, or like they see as a really link to their own present?
I don't know, because we didn't ask, but I think it was our question to start this program, and it was not goal to say that yes, it's so important history. It's like our good point to start.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe, I don't know, maybe it was these photos from the family archive, some interview with parents. It's a good way to activate this communication and to make this oral history. Yes. But I don't know. We don't have some feedbacks about after this program.
Yeah, actually, my question is about this afterlife of the project, and it's related to both of the presentations. because like we can perceive this project as a very participatory one, so especially you use this participation while you're doing it. But after it's closed, it's not like there is no more participation. You just have some feedback, or which is somehow maybe be good for you, and you are happy that you had a successful project, or you might be upset because it is not. But how adaptive are those platforms to the new reactions, for example? Could they accommodate any new materials? And do you perceive them as like a repository where you can put something else? Or you actually first put this question, so who is responsible for the maintenance of the project? Or is it just done and that's it and we are happy about that? And actually, there's also a lot of voices during this seminar about this non-linearity, and that you have to provide as much freedom as is possible for the user. But what about the voice of the author of the project? And where do you have this voice and how visible it is? So what is the balance between the arguments that you have, especially in this educational projects? You definitely have an argument. And actually, this non-linearity is an argument by itself. That's why like, you want to provide the other perspective to the history telling and the history learning in specific Ukrainian context. So basically, maybe it's also something in between question and comment, but about the afterlife of the project and about this non-linearity, if you have it, and the dark side of participation, which is also a big issue in this project, because we love to have participation everywhere, but can we manage to have it?
Thank you for your question. It's a very important question, of course, and I try to answer about the life after the presentation. We have the reality and we have the previous plan. What about the previous plan? Of course, we planned to make this project many years like long in the future, like a permanent project, and we had a real strategy how it can be. We wanted to involve some teachers to create the materials. We have some draft of the Nazi game. It's not only the game. We have draft of this for game and even design of this game. But it's good question about the next one about the participatory method, because these students study in university now and have so many new projects. I don't know, another life, yes, and it's great that it was like more than 1 year during of this project we worked together. We were working together, but it's question because author of this project are students, but now who are responsible? Maybe center, because this platform placed on the, and it was our idea to put this platform on the some another living platform to give the life after, yes, and we have some, I don't know, info point, like today is Independence Day, please, in our Facebook page, yes, but it's a like big strategy, and I think we, to be honest, we doesn't manage with this, don't manage with these issues, with this challenge. And about this participatory, another one, of course, it's so many problems with this very popular method, but we had some problem, because when we started this program, we said students that it's a project is your, like from the idea to the finish, you are authors, you are great, it's our day, it's our research, yes, but we forgot to focus, to emphasize that it is a relation, this is communication with so many people, like our experts, designers, programmers, I don't know, financial director. We had editors, and somebody should pay money for this work, yes. But we make that like some imaginary world that for students, that it works like just your ideas. It's enough. But it was our mistake, because if we make really a participatory project, we should show reality, that we had budget, and it's not some I don't know. It's we have some problem with budget. We have some problem with I don't know, with language, with designer. Yes, because of course we had this great meeting, like designer with students, but it was so many meetings after this meeting. Yes, and I think it's our problem that we like play game about this participation project, and maybe for future we will do it better. Thank you for the question.
Yes, it's always a struggle with these digital projects that they, at a certain point, once they are published, they are not always maintained properly afterwards. And actually, in this case, I think it's still, it still has a lot of potential and opportunities to live not only through 90s but 2010s and 2020s and so on, because there's a lot of interesting material, and basically as the centralized institution maintain this website, at least website, as a representation of the project. But yeah, we can remember that even today we had in one of the presentations we had a website that doesn't exist anymore. I mean, in the Center for Humanitarian Researches that was presented by Victor, and he showed the picture, like the website that under the URL there is no website anymore. So basically we have this all the time. We have this problem, struggle with further maintenance of these projects once they are published, and especially for digital projects, it is important that they are iterating all the time. And once you publish it, it doesn't mean that it is finished. So, and that's why I also wanted to ask Sandra this morning about this afterlife of the project when it was published, and how was it this communication with teachers, because there was a workshop before the education activities started, with workshop with teachers how to work with these materials, and as far as I understand, there was a feedback from teachers once it published, and they worked with these materials further. So. It is question for us all the time, and for Live Interactive as well, because we have a lot of different side projects and project displays, web pages around Live Interactive. So Live Interactive projects is not only the link of liavcenter.org, but many other links as well. And what we are trying to do is to find target audiences for each of the project, and to communicate these materials to them. And one of the core audiences for us is actually, as Khrystyna said, it's educational activities. I mean, schools, teachers, and we are thinking on ways how we can also build some kind of platform based on Live Interactive that will be sustainable, and what is more important, useful for teachers and students at school. And it's also not only in terms of content, not only in terms of the history of the city, but also in terms of digital skills that students can achieve by using this tool. And I think this is another wonderful result of the projects about 90s, because the students, they were very much involved in preparing this digital representation of the materials that they collected. So it's not only about learning about 90s, but also learning about those digital tools that can be used for for building such a website. So I think it's another achievement of the project, and I think it's really wonderful. And I'm not sure if you have any other questions. If not, maybe I will do short organizational comments about our further schedule, because at 6:30 we have a lecture by Sandra about remembering Great War in Luxembourg and how it was actually communicated to different audiences. And this presentation will be also open to further audiences, so we invited everyone, and we need to, in the meantime, before the 6:30, we need to prepare this conference room for the presentation. So I invite you to this room back at 6:30, and. In the meantime, there is also, I want to mention that there is also an exhibition just downstairs, level below, at our exhibition space. In case you have an interest to look at it, it's about Zuzanna Ginczanka, Polish female writer who died during the Holocaust, but it's not only, but she became famous not because of that, which happens a lot of time, because very often we think about people about their deaths, and not only about their lives. And in case of Zuzanna Ginczanka, she was a really brilliant and very well-known Polish writer. So basically, her story was we tried to tell her story during this in this exhibition, so we invite you to visit it. There is also some printed handouts in English, but in general, an exhibition in Ukrainian, but it's art exhibition, it's not that historical exhibition, so it's like visual perception is much more important than text there. Another organizational comment that we have we have a dinner today at 8:30. We invite all of you to this, and maybe we'll just meet, I don't know, after the presentation of Sandra, maybe 20 minutes past 8 or something here at the entrance of the center, and we will go all together to the restaurant. And tomorrow I invite you to experience more the cityscape, not only this room and this building, but also to learn more, to see more about Lviv, and we will have a short city walk prepared by my colleague Olga Zarechnyuk. She also works in Lviv Interactive Project, and those kind of city walks that we do are actually another kind of interactive activities of our project, because we all the time once we prepare some material, we do kind of offline city walks or offline presentations of our online activities. So another interactive activities tomorrow at 11. We will start here at the center, so welcome. Yes, I guess I mentioned everything organizational that I should mention. In case you have any kind of questions, just let me know. And thank you to all of you for the participation, for the presentations, for the discussion. I hope it was useful to each of you, and you have some maybe Bogdan want to conclude. Was it interesting and useful for him? But for sure it was useful for us, and we see some new perspectives of developing our projects here at the center, and in the cooperation with other institutions. So looking forward to another meetings and another discussions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.